What is the most challenging part of API testing? A. Parameter validation. B. Preparation and launch of an environment on which API will exist. C. Updating of API requests testing scheme. D. All of the above. Which variable is provided by default for environment variables in Jenkins pipeline? A. Global. B. Environment. C. env. D. None of the above. What does API stand for? A. Advanced Programming Interface. B. Application Programming Interface. C. Advanced Protocol Interface. D. Application Protocol Interface. Which HTTP methods are commonly used in API testing for CRUD operations? A. Get, post, delete, patch. B. Create, update, modify, delete. C. Fetch, insert, update, remove. D. Send, receive, update, delete. What is the purpose of the HTTP status code 404 in API responses? A. OK. B. Not found. C. Unauthorized. D. Internal server error. Which authentication method is commonly used for securing APIs? A. API key. B. OAuth. C. Basic authentication. D. All of the above. What is the role of the Swagger OpenAPI specification in API testing? A. Defines a standard interface to describe RESTful APIs. B. Validates API requests and responses. C. Generates documentation for APIs. D. All of the above. What is the purpose of the options HTTP method in API testing? A. Retrieve data. B. Update data. C. Retrieve supported methods and communication options. D. Delete data. In API testing, what does the term serialization refer to? A. Converting data into a format that can be easily stored or transmitted. B. Authenticating API requests. C. Validating API responses. D. Testing the performance of APIs. Which type of testing focuses on how well different software components interact with each other via APIs? A. Unit testing. B. Integration testing. C. Functional testing. D. Regression testing. What does CORS stand for in the context of API testing? A. Cross-origin resource sharing. B. Cross-origin request sharing. C. Cross-origin request security. D. Cross-origin resource security. What is the purpose of the head HTTP method in API testing? A. Retrieve data. B. Retrieve headers without the actual data. C. Update data. D. delete data. What is the purpose of the post-HTTP method in API testing? A. Retrieve data. B. Update data. C. Create new data. D. Delete data. Which of the following is not a commonly used content type in API requests? A. Application JSON. B. Application XML. C. Text plain. D. Multi-part form data. What does the term rate limiting refer to in API testing? A. Limiting the number of API requests per time period. B. Limiting the types of HTTP methods allowed. C. Limiting the size of API responses. D. Limiting the authentication methods used. Which HTTP status code indicates a successful response in API testing? A. 200 OK. B. 404 not found. C. 500 internal server error. D. 401 unauthorized. In API testing, what is the purpose of the put HTTP method? A. Retrieve data. B. Update data. C. Create new data. D. Delete data. What is the role of mocking in API testing? A. Simulating API responses for testing purposes. B. Blocking unauthorized API requests. C. Encrypting API communication. D. Monitoring API performance. Which type of testing focuses on the overall behavior of an application by testing its APIs? A. Unit testing. B. System testing. C. End-to-end testing. D. Performance testing. What is the purpose of the delete HTTP method in API testing? A. Retrieve data. B. Update data. C. Create new data. D. Delete data. What does the term webhooks refer to in API testing? A. Automated testing scripts. B. HTTP methods used for CRUD operations. C. Mechanism for receiving real-time notifications from APIs. D. Authentication tokens. Which tool is commonly used for API load testing? A. Jira. B. Postman. C. JMeter. D. Swagger. What is the purpose of the options HTTP method in API testing? A. Retrieve data. B. Update data. C. Retrieve supported methods and communication options. D. Delete data. What is the primary advantage of using environment variables in API testing? A. Simplifies authentication. B. Centralizes configuration settings. C. Improves API security. D. Enhances API performance. Which authentication method involves exchanging a user's credentials for a token that can be used for subsequent API requests? A. API key. B. OAuth. C. Basic authentication. What does the term endpoint refer to in the context of APIs? A. The start and end of an API request. B. The URL where an API can be accessed. C. The data format used in API requests. D. The type of authentication used in an API. What is the purpose of the patch HTTP method in API testing? A. Retrieve data. B. Update data partially. C. Create new data. D. Delete data. Which HTTP status code indicates a client error in API responses? A. 200 OK. B. 404 not found. C. 500 internal server error. D. 401 unauthorized. What is the primary advantage of using API documentation in the development process? A. Enhances API security. B. Improves collaboration among developers. C. Reduces the need for testing. D. Accelerates API performance. Which of the following is a common security concern in API testing? A. Denial of service, DoS, attacks. B. Cookie manipulation. C. URL encoding issues. D. Mocking. What is the purpose of the head HTTP method in API testing? A. Retrieve data. B. Retrieve headers without the actual data. C. Update data. D. Delete data. In API testing, what does the term content negotiation refer to? A. Negotiating API response times. B. Negotiating the content type of API requests and responses. C. Negotiating API security measures. D. Negotiating API authentication methods. What does the term SOAP stand for in API testing? A. Simple Object Access Protocol. B. Service-Oriented Application Protocol. C. Secure Open Access Protocol. D. Systematic Object Analysis Protocol. Which HTTP status code indicates a server error in API responses? A. 200 OK. B. 404 not found. C. 500 internal server error. D. 401 unauthorized. What is the purpose of the options HTTP method in API testing? A. Retrieve data. B. Update data. C. Retrieve supported methods and communication options. D. Delete data. What role does Swagger OpenAPI play in API documentation? A. Validates API requests. B. Generates documentation. C. Encrypts API communication. D. Performs load testing. In API testing, what is the significance of the term schema? A. It represents the status of an API response. B. It defines the structure of data exchanged between the client and server. C. It is a type of authentication method. Which HTTP method is idempotent in API testing? A. Get. B. Post. C. Put. D. Delete. What is the purpose of the head HTTP method in API testing? A. Retrieve data. B. Retrieve headers without the actual data. C. Update data. D. Delete data. What is the primary purpose of API versioning in software development? A. To enhance API security. B. To optimize API performance. C. To manage changes and updates without breaking existing clients. Which HTTP status code indicates a successful but partial response in API testing? A. 200 OK. B. 206 partial content. C. 404 not found. D. 500 internal server error. What is the purpose of the options HTTP method in API testing? A. Retrieve data. B. Update data. C. Retrieve supported methods and communication options. D. Delete data. What is the role of a bearer token in API authentication? A. It represents a unique API endpoint. B. It is a type of API key. C. It is an authentication token included in the request header. D. It is used for API load testing. In API testing, what does the term chaining refer to? A. Combining multiple API requests in a sequence. B. Breaking API responses into smaller pieces. C. Encrypting API communication. D. Simulating API responses for testing purposes. What is the primary purpose of the HTTP method options in API testing? A. To retrieve data. B. To update data. C. To retrieve information about the communication options available. Which type of testing focuses on ensuring that an API works correctly after code changes or updates? A. Unit testing. B. Regression testing. C. Performance testing. D. End-to-end testing. What is the purpose of the Connect HTTP method in API testing? A. Retrieve data. B. Establish a network connection with the server. C. Update data. D. Delete data. What does the term throttling mean in the context of API testing? A. Controlling the rate of API requests to prevent abuse. B. Encrypting API communication. C. Validating API responses. D. Simulating API responses for testing purposes. Which HTTP status code indicates a redirection in API responses? A. 200 OK. B. 301 moved permanently. C. 404 not found. D. 500 internal server error. In API testing, what is the purpose of the term content type in the HTTP header? A. To specify the type of authentication used. B. To indicate the type of data being sent or received. C. To define the structure of API requests. D. To control the rate of API requests.